this is a pretty heavy video. I normally don't make content like this. Normally my content is just like Kyle and I playing video games and like goofing off. And to be honest, I have really thought about making more like not really commentary videos, but kind of. I don't really know what kind of content you would call this, but just like talking about certain topics, which I mean, like I said, I guess it's commentary. I don't know. I'm not some kind of encyclopedia of knowledge here, but um, Charlie Kirk was murdered on September 10th, 2025, and I'm pretty sure everybody knows that. I'm pretty sure, unless you've been living under a rock, everybody's heard about this. This is one of those things that somebody is messaging me. This is one of those things that is causing a lot of like uproar in America right now, in particular, and I think other countries have heard about it. I'm not too sure about that. I can only speak about America because that's where I'm at, and that's why this video is really important to me to make. Now, I'm a small channel. Obviously, I'm a really small channel, but it's not about that. To me, it's about more. To me, it's about talking about something because you believe that it's important. And to me, this is a super important topic to talk about. Now, I don't want to talk about this from like a political point of view or anything like that. I don't want to talk about it from, you know, if I was on the left or right or in between, whatever. I don't want to talk about it from that perspective. I'd really rather talk about it from a human perspective. What happened on that day is never okay. In no way, shape, or form is that ever okay. No matter which way you lean. I feel like this comes down to more than politics. Politics is something that, people agree with different things, and that's totally fine. And that should be able to be spoken about without violence. And I don't think what happened to him is ever okay. I've seen a lot of people making jokes online and laughing about it, and I just can't believe that somebody could really look at another human being dying and be okay with that, no matter who they are. Now, obviously, there's some exceptions. You could, you could argue me on that and say, well, Hitler was another human being, but he's still dead because, well, I mean, technically he committed suicide, but they were obviously people wanted him dead. Like that's not a bizarre thought to have, but that's a totally different situation. Charlie Kirk didn't hurt people. Charlie Kirk didn't cause physical harm to people. Charlie Kirk simply made people think. Charlie Kirk simply wanted people to talk. I found a clip of him talking about, you know, the moment people stop being able to talk is the moment that everything, he didn't use this verbiage, but I'm going to here. That's the moment everything goes to hell. He brought up marriages. If two people in a marriage or a couple stop talking, it'll end in divorce. If you stop talking to a friend, do you really consider them a friend anymore? That ends. And so it's super important to be able to put your differences aside, no matter what you believe, and be able to talk to people in a way that's trying to teach people, not trying to prove them wrong, not preaching at them, not telling them you're wrong because of this. It's not. It shouldn't be that way. What it should simply be is people being optimistic and wanting to learn. Now, I think that we've really gotten away from that. I think nowadays it's one of those things that people want to debate. They crave to debate and not simply talk about something. They just want to prove the other person wrong more than they want to teach people. And I think that that's a really bad way of going about things. I myself, I have my own beliefs, but when it comes to politics in particular, I don't know a whole lot. Now I know my agreements and disagreements and what I am studied up on, but there's a lot of things that I don't know about. I watched a debate with Charlie Kirk, and he was in a group, or he was at a table. It was a Jubilee video. He was at a table, and there was like 25 left-leaning college students that could come up and debate him. That's a really good video if you haven't watched it. They'll start talking about policies that I don't even know, like that I don't even understand. I don't know what they're talking about. I have no idea. But it's super important when talking to somebody about that. If they bring up something I don't know, I shouldn't get angry because I don't know that. I shouldn't get angry that they proved me wrong. I should be like, I'm sorry, I actually don't know what that means. I don't know that policy. That's something I should look into and learn before I can speak on it. That should be a really easy thing to say, especially when it comes to stuff like this. The fact that he allowed people to come up and talk to him and was murdered for that, you know, different belief, I think is really like heinous. I think that the people that are celebrating it are morbid and horrible people. I've seen a lot of people losing jobs over that, and quite frankly, I think that that is okay. I think that that is a good thing, to be honest with you. And some people might argue, that that's restricting freedom of speech and all that, but there's a totally different thing in freedom of speech and speaking about what you feel and how you think than celebrating somebody's death. I think that's a totally horrible thing. I don't think that's ever okay in any circumstance. The only circumstance that that should be taken, because that's a lethal threat, is if somebody else is causing a lethal threat. I mean, no matter their beliefs, it shouldn't matter what they believe. It should simply be, this is a human. This is a father. This is a husband. This is a son. This is a brother. I don't know if he had siblings or not. Like I said, I'm not some kind of encyclopedia of information. I don't know if he had siblings. All I know is that he was a father and a husband and a son. And that's something that is so valuable. That relationship is so valuable. And when something like this happens to somebody, it is really terrible. Um, I've dealt with grief in my life. I've had somebody close to me. I've lost somebody close to me, and I can't imagine being in their shoes where he was just talking about what he believed and sharing that with people and was murdered for it. And I don't think that that's okay. There was even some people that had debated him. I forgot the guy's name, but in the video that I was talking about, the Jubilee video, uh, he was talking to Charlie about his beliefs and on abortion and all kinds of stuff, and they had a conversation. Charlie, at the end of the conversation, actually said, "That's one of the best points somebody's posed to me," and I appreciate that. So he was super understanding, and I really wish I knew the guy's name. Um, but even after Charlie was shot, he didn't celebrate. Like he was he was crying, he was upset because he understood what it's like to lose another person that you're close to. And the fact that somebody was against him can do that, but people that are also against him but haven't even interacted with him can sit there and laugh and make jokes and mock his death. That is something that is terrible and something that is sick-minded. That is never okay in any situation. Something else I'd like to touch on is a lot of people like to are scared to share their beliefs now because of what happened. There's one side of it where a lot of people are fired up and are saying he died for this, and this is just putting a fire underneath me to make me want to talk and speak out. And then there's a lot of people that live in areas that of people that are celebrating what happened, and they don't feel safe. I talked to a couple of people now that have worked in environments where the people that have been there longer than them are sitting there celebrating what happened, and they're scared to say anything back to them, saying, "Hey, I don't think that's right," because of backlash, and I don't think that that should be a thing. Again, we should all be able to talk. I should be able to come on here and talk about what I believe, and that should be okay, whether you agree or disagree. Now, I'm not saying that means that I should be able to come on here and slander people. No, I'm saying that I should be able to come on here and say, this is what I think about this subject, and that should be okay. That should be heard. That should be, if people watch that, they should want to learn. Be like, okay, what is this person's perspective? Whereas, also, myself, I should be able to watch videos of other people and put myself and see like, okay, what are they thinking? Like, how are they seeing this from a different angle than I am? How are they raised in a different way that they see this and I don't? Where do they live at that they see this and I don't? Like, stuff like that. I don't think it should be an argument, and I think that's a super important thing to say. I don't think it should be an argument. If you look back at old videos of debates between presidents on opposing sides, I, I I'm sure this has gotten a lot talked about, and I just think it's really important to remember, and that's why I'm pointing it out. Um, there was debates where, like, before this age of media and anger and hatred for each other, they would talk about something. One president would say, or one, potential president would say something, and they'd be like, "What do you think about that?" Or they would pose them a question, and they'd be like, "I really like that point that they made. I kind of understand where they're coming from, but this is how I view it." Instead of this name calling back and forth like they're siblings arguing. I don't understand this back and forth arguing. And I pray that things get better. And I pray that we as people can talk and not be so hateful. I pray that we can speak to each other normally and learn from each other and take away good things from the conversation and not just try to prove each other wrong. What happened on September 10th is a monumental moment no matter which side you lean on. Again, I know places that it's splitting people up, making people scared to speak about how they feel, and that's not right. But I also have heard of, again, I'm not going to say that I know the facts, but I've heard of places that this is bringing people together. I've seen videos of people making jokes and stuff, but I've also seen people saying they didn't agree with Charlie Kirk, and that's okay, but they still feel for his family and for his death, and that is not okay. And so I really just wanted to make this video. Again, no matter how small my channel is, I think it's important that we all speak up. And for those people that are scared to speak up and feel like they don't have a place to speak up, I want to bring something to them to say, hey, you can speak up. Don't be scared. Share what you believe, and I'll hear you, and I'll do my research if I have to, if I don't understand it, and I'll learn, because at the end of the day, that's really, really important that we can talk to each other and not hate each other. The worst thing that could happen for this country right now is a civil war. Not necessarily like before. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying this alone is a civil war. This constantly bashing heads, this constantly not being able to speak to each other, this constant hatred towards each other. We are all American. We all live here. We all, day to day, have to wake up, go to work. That's our life. We all share a similar life, if you really think about it. All it is perspective. And I don't think that we should hate each other. Again, we're all American. It doesn't matter your skin color. It doesn't matter anything like that. It doesn't matter where you were raised. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, we're all Americans. And at the end of the day, we have to come together as a country. It's not about these two teams, this left and right. This is splitting us up. This is segregating us. This is splitting us off. What we should really think is we're all American. We're on the same team. This is the team, America, not these two. So I really just wanted to talk about this. Prayers out to Charlie Kirk's family. I think what happened is terrible, and I think the way people are responding are pretty terrible as well. And I just really wanted to speak my voice and make sure everybody else knows that if they want to say something, they are heard. But don't make fun of people for passing away and dying. Thank you.